Good morning. It's Sunday. That means I'm back in my own kitchen. We're going to make pierogies today. Not very many ingredients, so it's pretty simple. My great-grandmother was Norwegian and the other one was Ukrainian. So in our house, we always called them Pedaheh. But my friend Lydia, she's a judge, she calls them Pedaheh. Most people call them pierogies. Whatever you call them, they're delicious. As you can see, I've been eating dumplings my whole life. Whether they're Italian or Norwegian or Ukrainian or Chinese, dumplings are delicious. You're gonna need potatoes, old cheddar cheese, the oldest and sharpest you can find, eggs, flour, and that's about it. I'm gonna get this stuff ready and we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so I've peeled the potatoes, cut them into big chunks, and I put them in salted boiling water. We're gonna boil them until they're nice and soft so that we can mash them. Okay, we're gonna make the dough. It's just like any other pasta dough, so it's not that difficult. I know on a lot of shows they show you to make it on a board and you make a well and all that stuff, but really it doesn't matter as long as you get all the ingredients together. Making a well makes it messy mostly. So we're gonna start with a little more than 3 cups of flour. And I said it's a little more, that's why they're heaping, so no need to correct me. And a big pinch of salt, probably a tablespoon of, or a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon. Then some eggs. My great-grandmother was Italian on my dad's side, and she said for every cup of flour, you used an egg and an eggshell of water. We want this dough to be a little more tender than pasta. We don't really want it quite as chewy. I'm gonna use 3 cups of flour, 5 eggs, and 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, big pinch of salt, and we can measure it. 1, 2, 3. Those are heaping eggshells of water. Now, you really are just gonna mix it all together. I know that you're supposed to do it like a well, so if you'll notice, there's my well, but I don't need to worry about breaking the sides of the dam and getting it all over the counter. Like I told you, I don't have a team to help me clean up here.
Okay.
Getting to the part where things are getting a little bit trickier because you need to decide, is my dough too wet? Is my dough too dry? My dough's a little wet. I guess those eggshells were heaping a little more than I should have. Now I put some flour on the table. While it's still really shaggy like this, if it's too dry, you can still sprinkle a little bit of water. The only way you know for sure is from experience. Now we start to knead it. I've taught a lot of cooking classes at the store. Kneading seems to be a skill that not everyone knows. So I learned it at Black Creek Pioneer Village as a kid, actually. Fold the dough towards you, push away from you. A quarter turn, fold and push away from you. You're going to add flour just on the board as you knead it until your dough is soft and supple. It'll probably take about 5 minutes, so we'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, I'm still kneading. It's still not ready. The dough's still a little wet, so I'm still kneading in a little more flour. Someone just corrected me here in the kitchen and said that I gave my great-grandmother's recipe and then I did something completely different. You're right, my great-grandmother is from Italy and she's been gone a long time, so I'm doing it my way. You do it your way. But this is the way that works for me. The dough is nice and tender because of the added fat from the extra eggs and the oil. And the water depends on how wet or dry the day is. I used a little more water than I should have because it's pouring rain outside today. From scratch. Kneading pasta dough is quite a workout. So I guess you can tell when it's ready when you can't knead anymore because you pooped, or when the dough is nice and soft and smooth. See how the dough is nice and smooth? It's not all dimply. That means that combined with the idea that I'm pooped means we're done. We're going to cover it with plastic wrap or put it in a plastic bag and let it rest for at least a half an hour. When you come back to your dough, it's not going to be as dry. It'll feel much moister than it is. So keep kneading it until it's hard and not sticky at all. Okay? See you soon. Okay, we're back and we're ready to mash. So I've drained the potatoes and we're going to mash them. So you can use a potato ricer if you want. That's normally what we use, but I left mine at the bakery. Or you can just use a good old-fashioned masher. Remember what I said about cooking everything from scratch and using this as part of your workout? If you had leftover mashed potatoes from something that you were cooking for dinner, you can use them instead. You don't have to make potatoes just for this. But with my mom here, there's 6 of us, and we all love pierogies or Pedaheh. So you want to mash them nice and smooth. Do not do this in a mixer because it makes your potatoes gummy and disgusting. We did 4 pounds of potatoes, which I weighed before I peeled them and before I boiled them. So I don't know how much it turned into, but these are all of those 4 pounds of potatoes. This is really only 2 pounds of cheese, but it's shredded. I don't know if we're going to use all of it, but these should be cheesy. So I'm going to use at least a pound to start of extra old cheddar. Yes, I used white cheddar because the extra old is almost always white from what I've seen. But you buy whatever cheese you like. Cheddar cheese is the one we like, but you can add anything. This is your gig, not mine. Yeah. Okay, don't forget to season with salt and pepper. And potatoes like salt. Just keep mushing up. And when you taste them, they should taste cheesy because they're going to go inside a dumpling or a noodle. So you want to make sure that they taste good and cheesy even before the noodle is around them. So we're going to add a little more because I can still fit it in. Sort of like dissolving sugar in water. You'll know when you get to enough. These should taste decadent. Okay, let's give it a try. Ooh, that's good. A little more pepper because we like pepper at my house. I don't think I'm going to use any more salt. If you wanted to add caramelized onions or mushrooms, you can add whatever you want. But we're doing the basic cheddar cheese and potato. Now, let it cool, and when we come back, I'll show you how to roll out the pasta. Okay, so everybody, I would like to introduce you to Holly and Lori's mom, Bonnie. Mom, hello. She taught us everything we know how to do, mostly. So this is our dough. It's nice and soft. It's much stickier than it was before. It was wrapped in a plastic bag. If you have a pasta machine, you can use a pasta machine. Isaac tells me that not everyone has one and we should be more approachable. So we're going to use a good old-fashioned rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a wine bottle. But apparently the dollar stores are still open and you can buy a rolling pin. Obviously, my Ukrainian grandmother wouldn't have had a pasta machine. Even my Italian grandmother, great-grandmother, didn't have a pasta machine. She used a broom handle or something. It should be nice and thin. This is about 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters thick. Also, to show that we don't have to have fancy cooking equipment, we don't have a cutter, so we're using a Costco coffee mug. Everybody has one of those. And you just twist and cut out circles. So here's a circle. You can make them larger. This was using the Ninja bucket or the Ninja smoothie making cup. So here, Mom, here's yours. You want them as full as you can get them, but you still have to be able to close it. It's important that you don't pinch filling between the dough because they'll pop apart when you put them in the water. So start in the middle, then you close the dough together, pinch nice and hard so that you're making one thickness of dough by the time you're finished. See, just like that. Same way as if you were making ravioli. Put them on a floured tray, and when you're done, we'll show you what's next. When you're making pierogies or pedaheh, you want as many hands as possible to help because they like to eat them, so they have to help. So Oliver is working the pasta machine because the rolling pin was just too much work. I only have one day off. So if you have one, and they are available on Amazon, I already checked it out. You can get them for $40 to $100. Try to get one made in Italy. They know what they're doing. Okay, all the pierogies are done, and we have some filling left, so we'll figure out what we are going to do with that. Maybe we'll make a potato cheddar soup out of it. But we have bacon cut up and onions. We're going to fry the bacon and onions together to put on top. We have to boil the pierogies, then we fry them the way at our house we fry them. We don't just eat them boiled. So we're going to boil them, and then we'll fry them, and then we'll top them with bacon, onions, and sour cream. Or my mom just eats them with butter. That's the way I do. Yeah. All right, so we threw the pierogies into some salted boiling water. We let them come to the top, and then we let them cook for about 2 minutes to make sure the pasta's cooked all the way through. We're going to drain them, put them in cold water to stop the cooking, and then we'll lay them out on a tray until we're ready to fry them. If you've made too many, you can put them in the freezer on a tray until they're frozen, and then put them in a bag and keep them in your freezer until you're ready to eat them. That way they'll be frozen individually in a Ziploc bag, so you can take out as many as you need. So we can hear the stomachs rumbling. We've started by cooking some bacon that was diced up into 1/2-inch pieces. And I've just added, I get the bacon started. And now I've added some diced onions. We're just gonna saute this until it's nice and caramelized. So we fried these ones in bacon fat because that's the way my mom likes them. But those ones were fried in olive oil and butter. Ooh. So Oliver, you've had 3 platefuls of pierogies. How were they?
They were very good. I'm very full now.
I guess you should be.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we hope you try making them. They take quite a while to make, so today was a pouring rain all day. We weren't going to do anything else, but give it a try. It's lots of fun. The worst thing that happens is you eat a lot of mashed potatoes. So talk to you later. Bye-bye.